I decided to post this here because Reddit is all I have left. Everyone kept telling me, "You're just stressed. You're imagining things. Get some sleep," but they were wrong. It doesn't go away. And if you're reading this, maybe it's already coming for you too. I moved to Portland, Oregon. At the start of last fall, I had just gotten hired for a remote editing job at a publishing company and was looking for a place to stay. I found a listing on Craigslist bright 3-bedroom downtown apartment, $650 per month. Quiet tenant only. It was half the price of anything else I'd seen. The landlord, Mrs. Harriet Miller, an elderly woman, told me over the phone that the apartment used to belong to her brother, who had passed quietly. Something about her tone felt off. She barely asked anything about me. The only thing she said when we met was, "Please don't touch the old cabinet on the back balcony. It has my brother's keepsakes." I didn't find it odd. If anything, it seemed like a great deal. I signed the lease and moved in that same evening. The first 2 nights were perfect. A spacious living room, warm lighting, cozy vibe. I finally felt like things were turning around. But on the 3rd night, something changed. I woke up at 3:17 a.m. I remember the time exactly, with a distinct feeling that someone was standing next to my bed. There was no one there, but something tightened in my chest, like my body already knew something was wrong. The kitchen light flickered 3 times, then went out. When I turned on the lamp, every cabinet door was wide open, every single one. I thought, maybe a draft, maybe bad hinges, but why all of them, and why that night? I calmed myself, turned on the TV, fell asleep to old reruns. But deep down, something wouldn't settle. On the 4th night, I saw it for the first time. It was in the bathroom mirror, not directly, more like in the background. A tall, unmoving gray shadow. When I turned around, nothing, but when I looked back at the mirror, the shadow remained. Closer. I ran out of the bathroom. All day I convinced myself it was just exhaustion or a hallucination. But the next night it came again. And this time it wasn't in the reflection. I woke up to a sound like scratching. At first I thought it was a mouse or a tree rustling outside, but the sound was coming from inside the apartment, from the wall. I pressed my ear against the drywall between the bedroom and bathroom, and I heard something I still can't forget. A whisper, distorted like it came from a cave, like multiple voices at once saying my name, very slowly, as if they were savoring each syllable. I jumped from bed and turned on the light. That's when I saw a crack forming in the corner of the wall. It looked like it was pulsing. I decided to record the next night with my phone. I set it up beside the bed in night mode and left it rolling. In the morning, I checked the footage. First 3 hours, nothing, I was asleep. But at 3:13 a.m., the camera detected movement. My body slowly sits up in bed. My eyes are open, but I'm not looking at the camera. I'm staring at the ceiling like there's something up there. And then I start to speak, but it's not my voice. The voice is low, like a branch creaking layered. And the words aren't mine. "He lives in the hollow. I am the vessel. Soon the door will open." I dropped the phone. My hands were shaking. I was afraid to even touch myself. I knew this wasn't just sleepwalking. This was something inside me. That night, I didn't sleep. I just sat staring at the mirror, praying it wouldn't show me anything else. But it did. Around 4:40 a.m., I noticed the reflection was lagging behind. I moved my fingers, but in the mirror, my hand was still. Then, a smile. Not mine. And it whispered from within the mirror, "You're already inside. From now on, I'm watching." I packed before sunrise. Backpack, laptop, phone, toothbrush. I left everything else behind. I just wanted to get out. But when I went to open the apartment door, the lock wouldn't budge. The key turned, but the door stayed shut. I tried slamming into it with my shoulder, pounded with my fists, yelled, but no neighbors came. It was like I'd slipped into a dimension that no one else could hear. I stepped back. That's when I saw them on the chain. Not dust, but what looked like fingerprints. Small ones, like a child's. And they trailed from inside the apartment toward the door. I called Mrs. Miller. For the first time, I heard panic in her voice. "You've already seen him?" she asked. "Who?" You You weren't supposed to stay past the third night. I demanded answers, and she broke. Her brother Jonathan had died in that apartment, but before he died, he told her a phrase she hadn't dared to repeat for years. I opened the door. Now he is free, but he won't leave until he finds another vessel. He used to record voices, draw symbols. In the cabinet on the balcony were his journals, but she had warned me not to go there. I hung up. I was shaking, but I decided either I find a way out or I lose my mind in this place. The balcony overlooked a blind alley ending in a brick wall. There was the cabinet. I opened it, and the smell of old wood, metal, and blood hit me. Inside, dozens of notebooks, drawings of eyes, hundreds of them, some without pupils, some with mouths. The first page I opened had a title, What He Says When I Sleep. The phrases were nearly identical to what I'd said on the recording. I live in the hollow. Mirrors are doors. The shadow is my voice. I felt the temperature drop, and in the corner, the shadow returned. But this time, it was breathing. I got out of the apartment, somehow. I don't remember how. Maybe the door opened on its own. Maybe I blacked out. I just remember being in an Uber, giving the driver the address of the nearest psychiatric clinic. Dr. Brooks looked calm. He listened to everything in silence, then said something very simple. You're exhausted. You need rest, medication, and a bit of reality. I almost agreed. I wanted to believe it was all in my head. But then I showed him the video, the one where I spoke in that other voice. He watched and slowly turned off the screen. Then he stood, walked to the window, and said, I've only seen this once before, and that patient disappeared. Without a trace, they gave me a sedative, asked me to stay for observation. But that night, I heard the voice again, this time inside my head. Don't run. I'm already inside you. There was a large mirror in my room. I tried to ignore it, but it whispered. When the room was silent, I could hear movement inside it. One time, I stared at myself for almost an hour, and suddenly, my reflection blinked first. I started hearing the voice even from the turned-off TV, from the phone, even without internet. It kept saying the same thing. You've broken the mirror seam. I'm coming through. I asked the nurse to remove the mirror. She agreed, but in the morning, it was back on the wall, only different, with old scratches, and that night I saw myself in the mirror, but not in the same position I was standing. My mirror self was closer, smiling, and had 4 eyes. I couldn't take it anymore. I escaped, broke a window, cut my arm, but got out. I couldn't explain it, but I knew. The hospital wasn't safe anymore. I stayed in a motel, no mirrors, but I still saw him, even in puddles. His eyes, they gleamed without light. I no longer know when I'm me, and when I'm him. My memories are mixed. Time is warped. All I know is I'm no longer alone in my own body. If you've read this far, you're probably wondering how it all ends. But the truth is, it doesn't end. You think you can run. I thought that too. I moved to a new city, threw away my phone, lived offline. I went to churches, to shamans, to mediums. One of them looked me in the eyes and started crying. Just cried. Then left the room. That's when I understood. I'm no longer me. I'm a shell. And he smiles from the inside. Sometimes in the mirror, I see my face glitch, like a skipped frame. I started losing days, waking up in places I'd never been, dirt under my nails, recordings on my phone I didn't remember making. One file was named We Are One. In it, I'm singing, but the song isn't mine. The voice isn't mine. The words are ancient, forgotten. I started seeing things in other people, how they stare into mirrors and don't notice what's behind them. I see it. He shows me. And you know what's most terrifying? I'm no longer afraid. I let him speak. Through me. Now I'm just a mouthpiece. And he's pleased. If your mirrors fog up even when you haven't showered, if they start lagging, If you hear your name in the echo, don't ignore it. It's not stress, not anxiety, not schizophrenia. It's him. And if you've read this far, he knows about you. He's watching. He's reading this with you. And tomorrow, he'll speak through you.